right, welcome back everybody. Today we are talking about a highly requested project, Fetch.AI, ticker FET. The project has a lot of potential, so I'm excited to dive into some chart pattern analysis, and price predictions, and then we will end on some bullish news that recently came out about Fetch.AI. So let's dive right in. So after we fell from this previous high here in March, we finally found a bottom down, wicked at least down below 16 cents. But what I want to point out here is that we saw a double bottom. Typically that's a bullish pattern. After that double bottom completed, we did see a bullish run up. And after we ran to this high, we slowly kind of headed to the downside and played within this channel horizontally for let's see, about a month and a half, and then after that it actually was looking decently bullish. You could have actually made a case here for a pennant, and typically those tend to be bullish if you're in an uptrend, and we technically were, but we fell below this trend line right here, and that also lined up well with the Bitcoin crash, and that's kind of what pushed down and pushed the price of FET down with that additional selling pressure. So where we're at right now, we're kind of in a battle with the 45-cent fib. We're trying to bounce off of it right now. And what's really important to note is we're actually below the 200-day moving average. And usually if you've been looking at charts and looking at other alts, a lot of the times the 200-day tends to be a very important bouncing point. It tends to catch a lot of these when we're coming back to the downside. It fell below, but you'll see how rare that is in this chart, right? It's only happened maybe one or two other times here. And what's cool to see is that not only does that not typically last for very long, so from June to July, so about a month and a half when you're looking at it, or early June to late July, that's where a double bottom occurred. But we were only below for about a month and a half, right? And after we were below for a month and a half, below the 200-day moving average, we saw this massive run up, right? So I do think that it's a healthy pullback. What that also makes me think that is that to kind of maintain this trend line, we were already way ahead of it here. So up here, we were way ahead of where we had to be in terms of the trend line to bail us out down here. So in my opinion, this is a healthy pullback. I think a lot of the alts are doing a healthy pullback, especially if a lot of you guys are subscribing to the idea that we're going to have a lengthening cycle. But let's get into some of the recent price movement and maybe where we're going to go from here. So like I said, 45-cent fib is where we're trying to bounce off of right now. In my opinion, I think we're going to see a lot of consolidation between 67 cents and this 45-cent fib. So kind of like this between here, I think we're going to consolidate quite a bit between there before we make a push above 67-ish cents. And then I think this kind of 75 to 78 cent mark right here is huge because this is really the neckline from where we came down from. So fighting back past that resistance, hopping on top of this fib and fighting past this resistance right here at about 76, 78 cents is going to really be the tough point in my opinion. So the really critical level to watch out for right now, in my opinion, would be between 75 and 78 cents. If we can break that level and then head for 87 cents, I think we get up past our previous high pretty easily after that. So to recap really quick here in the short term, I think we're going to see some heavy consolidation to hopefully eventually put us up back towards 75-ish cents. But for the near short term, I think we consolidate between 67 cents and 45-ish cents. I think that's going to be, at least for the next couple weeks or a month or so, we might consolidate here. And it's looking like we are bouncing nicely, at least so far. This is the daily candle, so it's looking like a decent bounce so far, and we'll keep an eye on that. But that's what I think for short term. In terms of long term, I think we need to take what the chart gives us. I like to do that on this channel if you're a subscriber. But last time we came from our low over here, right around 3 cents, 3.5 cents, all the way to our high up here, at 85, 86 cents, maybe even a little bit higher. This is about a 29x. So if we were to replicate that from our bottom over here in this bullish pattern, if we were to take our low of 17 cents, give or take a couple cents, and replicate that 29x, that would put us at right around $4.80, give or take. And so I think that's I honestly, usually a lot of these targets tend to be conservative when we're replicating on the chart. I think that this is a little bit bullish just because of what's been happening with the markets lately. I think especially if the Fed, starts bringing those rate hikes in like they said they would next year. It's really hard to say how that's gonna impact the market and then in turn impact the crypto market. So really, really hard to say. But I will say that we are backed by the fib extension. So if we pull this out and we come to the top of our extension here, we're going to see $4.80. So it's essentially replicating our last pump. I think $4.80 to $5 would be our top range. I think we safely get $3 next year. I think this is where we should be looking. And then obviously, long term, I'm really going to just be hodling my FET bag. I think there's a lot of potential with this project. The, autonomous technology they have coming out should be a game changer, and the partnerships they are announcing are fantastic. So long term, just to recap, between $3 and $4.80 is kind of what I see long term, depending on obviously market conditions and what's going on a macro level with the Fed, et cetera, et cetera. But I think based off of what we've seen in the chart previously, where we're at right now, this is a rather healthy dip. I don't think we need to be panicking quite yet. If we fall past 36-ish cents, that's kind of when we start to sound the alarm. But if we bounce off of this and consolidate, like we talked about before, so consolidate between these and then eventually break above this, and then our next, in my opinion, our next big resistance is going to be right here at that neckline, 76, 78 cents right here. Hopefully we get through that and then go for our high again. So that's what I'm seeing on the chart in terms of analysis and predictions. Let's hop really quick into some news about Fetch. So first off, really, really bullish on this. They announced a partnership with Gemini. I know it's a tad bit of old news, about 3 weeks ago, but definitely important to keep an eye on this. Just additional exposure. Obviously, they're also listed on Coinbase, but they just keep adding to their exposure, adding to their community, and it's just good to see that. The other thing I would note is that they're expanding partnerships. So they have some big corporate partnerships, but now they're also getting into esports. So they partnered with this company called Immortals, and it's a pretty legitimate esports gaming company. And they have projects out right now that they're actively working on, and it's a very active community as well. So very cool to see that. It sounds like it went successful, and it sounds like the community feedback was great in terms of the excitement it generated, and in terms of the reaction from the community as well. And the last thing I would note is that they were also recently listed on Bitrue. So just another additional piece of exposure for Fetch. Right now in terms of long term, they really need to basically show their technology in a real world use case. They have done it before, but they need to just expand their partnerships and hopefully get additional listings to kind of expand that volume and awareness. But I'm long-term bullish on FET. But that's kind of all I have for you guys today. Feel free to drop a like if you found something useful, and let me know in the comments of what other projects you'd like me to cover. And thank you so much for watching the video. We'll see you in the next one.